So a couple of years ago, it's when ChatGPT hit the screen, and we got tons to go over here today, so I'm going to go fast, and I'm not going to teach you how to use AI. I'm going to talk about what it is and different elements here, so we're going to cover a lot of stuff. Anyway, I've written 5 books on it because I got a little bit revved up, and 4 journals that have nothing to do with it. But you have an opportunity, a little piece of paper on your table. I'm going to give away 3 of these fabulous books, of which 200,000 were sold. Some of you remember me from back in 1994 when I did this book. So Don, my very able assistant, is going to collect those little pieces of paper with your name on. Okay, anyway, enough of that. Artificial intelligence will help you become more productive, more profitable, more powerful. This is the only technology that we know of that has come out that will do 3 things: help you work better, faster, and cheaper. The only one that we know of that has happened like that. So here's what we want to talk about today: some AI tools, some processes that people can use. If you want to take screenshots with your camera or whatever, go ahead, because we're going to keep rolling, and how to implement this. Basically, those kinds of things. And why do you need to take action now? Well, because there's a lot going on. Businesses are implementing this. Over half of businesses are exploring and trying to figure out how to implement it. And what's pretty exciting from a business standpoint is that businesses are growing on average 37% faster when they have figured out how to utilize artificial intelligence. And what's a little surprising, even when you hear all that, is that only 2% are implementing at the rate that they need to meet their market needs. So there's a huge opportunity. And as most of us probably are wondering, are we falling behind? What do we need to do? Do we really need to do anything? And a couple of reasons of why implementation is so slow up here is that it can be overwhelming because there's so much out there. Obviously, everybody here knows that. Some people say there's 15,000 AI tools. Another guy that I talked to says there's 300,000. I don't know, anything over 100 is too many. So there's a lot out there that's confusing, and we don't know then what's possible, because where do you start when there's so many to look at? Some people don't know what it's going to do to the business. They're concerned about that. Also, what's it going to do to people? Are we going to eliminate jobs? And then the last part is we don't really know how to handle change. And I don't know, I think I might be one of the few people that started talking a while ago where I said, we really need change management people to work on AI and get it going, because there's just a lot that has to be done. So, well, yeah, big deal. I'm here to make it easy and affordable. And I thought I would just share with you a little bit. When I first heard about AI from my mastermind and coach guy in Scotland, I was like, oh, please, one more stinking thing I need to learn. Anybody here had that feeling? Yeah, right. Why do we have to do more stuff? And then I think it was a week later, he did a demo, and I thought, oh my gosh, I am in. That very day, I set up my account and started using it. So it didn't take me long to say, boy, that's something to do. I'm in the process of the certification program. I didn't put candidate up there, close enough. And then one of the things that's probably a little different in my background working with artificial intelligence is that I really come as a business person. All of my entire career has been how to build businesses, how to figure out companies, help them make more money, starting businesses, sunsetting products, the whole gamut from startup to, well, sunsetting, killing products, or killing them before they got to the market. So I still do that, and then I use AI as a tool to help accomplish all of that. And so some of the things about how this is transforming businesses, I'm going to run through these, is conversational AIs and chatbots. Anybody heard of those? Yeah. Okay, well then, we'll see. Maybe you all know this already. We're going to talk about LLMs and NLP. Well, no, I don't have NLP on this one. Then how you can use some of these different things for content. We're going to talk a little bit about personalization, and the last thing is automating complex workflows. So again, these are just going to be high-level things. This is, they kind of name things cutesy. This is Gorgeous, and Gorgeous automates customer service, which is one of the areas that's really had a huge benefit. And a lot of us have seen this where we're ordering something online and the little thing pops up and it says, "Can I help you?" Anyway, so we've all seen that. Then there's something here, tech trade, or trade tech. This actually will use the artificial intelligence to help pre-qualify leads and schedule appointments for you. So if anybody here is in some sales function, like Jimmy, or in your business, most of us are selling all the time. Deb, you know this inside and out. Here's another one, it's called ManyChat. This is where you can yourself put together a chat bot, and a chat bot is the one that talks to people. And here's another tool called Dante. All of those help the artificial intelligence or create the artificial intelligence that'll talk to your customers that come online in your website or somehow get connected with you. So that's the blast through there. And here are some people that are clones. And I work with the two in the bottom corners, Kane and Alessia. And they're real people, but they have been cloned. And here's my clone. Well, I mean, I created her.
Are you seeing a gap in your sales team's performance? Do you have a few star performers while the rest struggle to keep up? You're not alone. Many sales leaders face this challenge daily. What if you could model the success of your top salespeople?
Okay, that worked. We stopped her. Anyway, so with this, you go to a site and you pick out the character, you know what they look like, male, female, whatever. And then on this one, I can't remember if you had a choice of voice, but I picked her. And then I went to ChatGPT and I dictated a bunch of stuff or typed up a bunch of stuff to get a script. And then I went to this, which is called Synthesia, put my script in, and there we go. We got her talking about something that we do. Does that blow your mind? Don, you look a little stunned. The stuff that's going on is so exciting. And
isn't it more cost effective just to do it yourself than to do all that crap?
Well, if it took me 15 minutes and I would have had to hire a professional actor or videographer and all that stuff, you know, it costs over, isn't it $1,000 per second now for video production? It's some insane thing. Maybe it's $1,000 a minute, it's gone up. So that's a good question. Typically, you can do things, plus now this can be used over and over and over, and I'm not paying royalties and all that stuff to Actors Guild. This I wanted to share a little bit because most of you are familiar with the large language models, although you might not call it an LLM. So a large language model is what ChatGPT is. Does anybody use anything other than ChatGPT? Anybody using Claude? Claude is awesome. So if you haven't experimented with Claude, you can get a free version of Claude, and it's spelled just the way the name is. And ChatGPT, and there's Meta, which is, of course, Facebook, and that now is called Llama, and so there's a bunch of other ones. What's interesting to note is that ChatGPT is the big player, and a lot of the other AIs use ChatGPT to run their operations, to run their artificial intelligence. So a lot of times it's the operating system, if you will. Anyway, so the thing I wanted to tell you about LLMs is it stands for Large Language Model. And all that means is like ChatGPT has basically all the information from every book, every journal, every video, every PDF, every white paper, every whatever that's been out there in the public domain. And they don't even have to be public domain documents. I mean, they're copyrighted. And it has taken all that information and now put it into their system. And it's not a database, it works different than a database. And then what happens is it will generate, I don't have that on these slides, but it will generate an answer to you. So down here, when you go to ChatGPT, for those of you that haven't been using it, this is where you put your prompt, which is what you tell it to do, or the question that you ask it. And that's when it goes back in its own special brain and comes up with information. And is there anybody here that hasn't used ChatGPT? Okay, so you all know how it comes back and it sounds intelligent and it communicates like a human and it says things that another person would say. That's because it uses NLP, natural language processing. Anyway, here's my other one. Oh, Claude can do some amazing things. I used it to rewrite one of my books for a different audience, and unfortunately I wasn't too smart, and it took like 15 hours to do it the first time. Second time I did it, it took 2 hours to rewrite it for a different audience. And I figured, you know, I started with 500 pages, it's my book. I can have it, rewrite it, and it still be mine, doggone it. So it depends what you're trying to do. But anyway, so the LLMs really are a great product to use for anything. And then Copilot, only because I have to talk about Microsoft. Not because Pasha now works there, but because, yeah, and when they first came out with Copilot, I said, you just watch. They're gonna make you pay for this. I know Microsoft. Of course, you gotta pay for it. It's really popular in bigger organizations, enterprise, where also it integrates really well with other Microsoft products. Like, it's really great at working with Microsoft Outlook, where you can organize your email and you can have it summarize your emails and put things together and all that kind of stuff. You can still do that other ways, but in particular, Copilot kind of pulls all that together from Microsoft. All right. Oh, we're good, okay. Anybody here use the AI for creating content? Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Well, and just to clarify what we mean by content, could be posts that you put on any of the social media, including LinkedIn. It could be something that you're writing a blog or an article or something that you have to basically write. Jasper has been around a long time, and that's one of those, if you're interested in some help, that Jasper can do things. Okay, and there's Synthesia that I already showed you when I did my clone. And I'm not going to really say much about this, but this one's called Deep Brain. It sounds impressive. And AI Creative, this really works well. What it's known for is putting together things for all the different social media. And as you know, probably, each social media has its own parameters, so you have to kind of comply. And this one, watch this, because you're going to see where we typed in what we wanted it to do. Okay, watch there. 2 professionals shaking hands. There they are. This is, I think, a 4-second video. Some of these don't give you a lot of time, and some of them, you know, just do like snippets. But how impressive is that? Okay. This is one that I've used, Veed, and it again can do more than all of this. What I used it for, and I'm going to show you, is after last September, a year ago September, when I was in France and I realized I didn't speak French worth a darn, I thought, okay, I'm going to have that do it for me. So I'm going to show you that in a minute. That's one of the things it can do, but I got to show you this one because it's actually quite hilarious. And Descript is something that you can use to take your video and you can go to it and have it take out the filler words. So if you're not a graduate of, what's that thing, that group where you go practice your speaking and they do the clicker? Toastmasters, yeah. If you haven't graduated from that and you say you'll see this guy, he's pretty funny. And you can go and you can change words, edit your video.
So these nuggets are made from chicken, but they're made to emulate the taste of like non-chicken nuggets. So these nuggets are made from chicken, but they're made to emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Dope. Let's boost that sound quality. Emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Emulate the taste of non-chicken nuggets. Dope. Non-chicken nuggets. Non-chicken nuggets. But they're made to emulate the taste of vegan nuggets. Sounds tasty.
Watch his face. Anyway, it's fun to look at that too. And to have a way that you can take a video that you've produced and go clean it up. Where again, it was all done by professionals with a lot of expense in the past. So you can just do so many things.
This is perfect if I want to create an audiobook to
Oh, yeah,
publish
let's
or
do this.
sell.
And then, maybe I can move it here.
This is perfect if I want to create an audiobook.
Okay.
This is perfect if I want to.
Sorry.
This is perfect.
Well,
if
I don't
want
want to have you
create an
listen to
audiobook
all
to
it.
publish or sell.
But there's people, and it's in different languages. That's the
This
part
is
that-
perfect if I want to create an audiobook
Oh, there you go.
to
It's
publish
just scrolling.
or sell.
It'll control itself.
I fuoricampo di ieri non vincono le partite di oggi.
Oh, was that Italian?
Den som inte riskerar något riskerar ännu mer.
Nomea. What was that? Anyway, so you can use these to do so many things. It's really pretty amazing. And here's the one that I wanted to show. Okay, now we'll see if we get this to work.
Salut, je suis Becky Amble et je veux me présenter en français. Je travaille avec des entreprises dans l'espace B.
Did you see that? What? I know, doesn't that kill you? Let me just play a little more of that. Watch my lips.
Entreprises industrielles de haute technologie et médicale. Beaucoup de fabricants.
So I'm just nerdly enough that I just get all excited about this stuff. I go, oh, it's so cool. So this was after my sort of failure of speaking French in France.
Hi, I'm Becky Amble, and I'm doing a second video, and I guess I talk a little fast, so I might be talking fast on this one too. Anyway, I think this is pretty dang cool artificial intelligence, so I wanted to do another sample for you.
Okay, anyway, you get the drift. So that one is Veed, if anybody's trying to keep track of anything. Veed, where I had my video and I went to it and I said, you have to do a little setup, but then I said, okay, I'm speaking English, obviously, and I want to be in French. Da 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 da, and there it does the captions for you.
Change your outfit too?
These were probably different days, probably different. Because the other thing is that one is done on HeyGen. And we have a client, a professional speaker, an amazing guy, that has a series of videos, and he's also doing public speaking and just launched his book. Anyway, all these things coincide. And so he had a video and he said, well, can we just see how it goes in Spanish? So I took it to HeyGen and well, I didn't translate it. HeyGen did. Then I sent it to one of my other clients who's from South America, and I said, hey, would you listen to this? Does this sound right? I think she's from Argentina or Argentina. And she says, yeah, it's great, but I also had captions on it. And she said, take the captions off. They're not quite jiving, sequencing right. So, well, when I did the French one, my husband speaks French, well, sort of, used to speak French. And I said to him, hey, because it's probably some night, and I go, hey, you got to come down here. So he comes down to my office, and I go, listen to this, and look at that, my lips are moving, it's all around. And I said, it's really French, right? And he goes, yeah, I think so, I can't remember very much. I thought, oh, big help you are. But, I think it's so much fun.
Hi.
Okay, we're going to try to get rid of that. The other thing is you can personalize things. Again, you can do voice cloning. You can clone yourself. You can clone a character, whatever you want to do. You can then take those and have it go into text messages. You can have it go into emails that have audio options. And here's one I want to show you. This is just mind-boggling, Resemble. And what I'm going to show you is how he writes an email, and then you can hear it. And then with this, you can go change who you're sending it to, and then you put the people like that were at a workshop or something, and then it generates it. So here, let's look at this. I think it'll start talking.
Hey Bob, this is Kane Minkus from the web class today. It was great to see you, and I look forward to working with you in the AI-assisted entrepreneur 12-week sprint.
Okay, now he's going to come up with the other names. And now they will generate emails and also the audio.
Hey Jenny, this is Kane Minkus from the web class today. Hey Jeff, this is Kane Minkus from the web class today.
Anyway, that would probably save some time. Like I said, it's just fun and mind-boggling.
The power of artificial intelligence
This is one of the
today
guys I work with.
is creating a world where there are no boundaries due to languages.
Let's see if I can move this ahead. Come on.
The power of artificial intelligence today is
Ah, darn it.
The power of artificial
It's not doing
intelligence today
I'll let
is
you hear a
creating
little
a
bit of this,
world
'cause
where
he
there are
speaks in
no
multiple
boundaries due
languages.
to languages.
Il potere dell'intelligenza artificiale oggi sta creando un mondo in cui non ci sono confini a causa delle lingue.
Is it correct?
La IA rompe barreras idiomáticas y crea un mundo sin límites de lenguaje en la actualidad. Die Kraft der künstlichen Intelligenz schafft heute eine Welt, in der es aufgrund von Sprachen keine Grenzen mehr gibt. Le pouvoir de l'intelligence artificielle aujourd'hui
Anyway, I don't
crée
know
un
if it's
monde sans frontières grâce aux
Oh, I
langues.
guess he's going to keep talking.
人工
unless
智
I
能
can
的
figure
力
out how to
量
stop it.
正在創造一個沒有語言障礙的世界。現在の人工知能の進步は、
Yeah.
世界中の言語の壁をなくし、コミュニケーションを促進しています。आज की AI की शक्ति भाषाओं के कारण कोई सीमा नहीं बना रही है, इसलिए यह बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है. O poder da inteligência artificial hoje está criando um mundo onde não há fronteiras devido às línguas. De kracht van kunstmatige intelligentie vandaag de dag creëert een wereld waarin er geen grenzen zijn vanwege talen. Bugün yapay
Since I
zeka
don't know how
gücü
to stop
dillerin
it.
sınırlarını ortadan
We'll just enjoy the
kaldırarak
language.
sınırsız bir dünya yaratıyor.
Anyway. Jonose? I didn't do that, Kane did. Anyway, so the other thing is, one of the other AIs that we work with is called Wordly. The really cool thing that this does is you can be in a Zoom meeting and you can share a link with anybody there. They can go click on it and pick the language that they want to read and hear. And it's instant. It's real time. Now, how amazing is that? I said the United Nations needs to get this instead of all those headphones and those people in the back room talking. Also, who's heard of Zapier? Okay, so this automates your workflows. So if you've got something where you do repetitive work, that's the kind of thing that Zap will take care of. And I'm going to show you, basically, it's where one example is you take an email that you want to automate, then you go to ChatGPT and tell it what to say, and then you come down and review a draft and then send it. So in essence, what you're doing is training the system and setting it up so that it'll do this on whatever emails you select. Like you might say, all emails from these sources, this company, my team, or whatever it might be. And then ChatGPT comes up with the response. And then you get an opportunity to say, yeah, cool, send that off. This one, Make, has a little bit of a demo here that maybe we can watch. What the heck, let's skip that. Because it basically just shows you what I told you, that you pick the email, then you connect with ChatGPT, and then you review and you move on. The other thing that a lot of people don't understand or maybe haven't had exposure with is what is called stacking or multiple AIs. So like this, you would, well, the one I just showed you, you would have the artificial intelligence that does the workflow. It would also then work with ChatGPT that does the content, and then it would come back, and then you would say, yep, good to go. So this is just another one. It's called AI-Explain. How is all this getting put together for people? You can use off-the-shelf tools, like everything I've shown you here, you can go do yourself. Most things do have a free option or at least a trial, so you can do that and test things out. What I would do is, if you go test anything out, because I've got a little carried away, if you go test things out, do it for something you actually want. If you're doing it for work cases, at least do that, because one of my favorites on presentations, I think I burned through like all of them just playing around with it, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, now I have to pay. So just think about that. Anyway, we can also, or you can find somebody that can build a customized workflow and work with you to get that all put together. And the custom tools like the clone, the lady in the red shirt, and all those other things. And you saw Kane, who was speaking multiple languages. I mean, think if you were doing some international business thing or whatever, and you thought, oh, it would be great. Kane closed, I think it was a $100,000 deal because he put a translation into the other person's language, even though they could speak English. They were just impressed, that build the rapport, everything. Probably wouldn't have gotten the deal without that. And then also there are people like me and the people that I work with that train people to understand and help them get up to speed. We use a 6-step process, and now it's called AI-ifying. So there's another little one for you to go and say, heard about AI-ifying today. And so first thing is to identify what areas you want to impact. And a lot of times that's where we don't know where to start. And so we work with people to help them figure out that, talk to the team members, then come up with options, come up with a solution, implement. And then usually what we do is we say, let's do a pilot project. Let's get this going. Let's make sure it's working. Let's not just jump in, kind of like this morning when we had 6 people trying to make the presentation work, is that you want to make sure everything is going smooth before you jump in and then something's not working so cool. So if you do this, remember to do that. And this is just talking about how I work and the people that I work with. This is what we do. You can do this yourself. Hopefully, if you hire somebody, they do it this way, because we think this is a good way to do it. So the first part is really to talk with your organization. You know, you can do this internally, like I said, and think about, okay, what are we doing now? What kind of tech do we have? Do we have data? How is our data put together? As in anything that we're going to do, we have to really assess what are we doing and how do our current systems work. And then we do what's called a future ready assessment, or the opportunity of really then saying, all right, now that we've talked and we've spent, it can take up to like 2 weeks depending on the size of the organization. If it's sort of like a smaller organization, it's probably 4 hours to get through the assessment to figure out what's going on and where do you need some help. And then typically we ask people, where are you spending time, or where is your team spending time on repetitive things that you feel is not productive? And that's usually one of the first places that you want to start and say, okay, can we automate that? What can we do so that we're not spending, I don't know about you guys, I still spend too much time on email. And does it drive me crazy? Yeah, most of us, it's like, if I could just get rid of that dang email, life would be great. So we look at how do we put this together, how do we work with organizations and help them go through this process, because pretty much nobody knows what to do or where to start. I mean, it's all new stuff. And this is not just an opportunity to automate. Anyway, so that's what I do now, spending most of my time on artificial intelligence. So if you know somebody that wants to hear about it or is trying to figure out what to do in their business, hey, I'd appreciate hearing. And we do complimentary consults with people to see if they're ready, if we can help them or send them to somebody else. That's all my contact information. So Don, did you collect up the names? All right, so I will stop there. Like I said, it's a lot of information and I wanted to get through just to give you more of a picture of what's out there. Yeah.
You know, you see these ads on television. I just wondering that it seems like that manufacturers are using the term AI. Like you can buy a toothbrush, electric toothbrush, and it says I got AI in it. So it seems to me that there's a lot of things that's going on that's using the term AI, but not really using AI. Is there any comments on that?
Well, you certainly could be right. And most of us have been using AI and maybe not really thought about it, because most of us have used Alexa or Siri. I used to talk to my son's Alexa and tell it jokes, but that's how weird I am. I have no life. I have to talk to a machine. And how many times have you been typing an email and it pops up the rest of the address? Or you're typing a Word document and all of a sudden it says, what would you, it finishes your sentences. So we've all been using that. And AI first was conceived in 1956 by a bunch of engineers at Dartmouth. That's a little while ago.
Did they call it AI?
I can't remember exactly what they did call it. Yeah, Eldon.
So answer it any way you want, because it's the ethics question. But when I heard on WCCO, if I heard it right the other day, Jordana Green said that WCCO radio had an AI presentation, and somebody, ChatGPT or somebody, offered to offer the whole system to their radio station for, if I remember right, it was like $10 million. And I read the Star Tribune every morning because they also subscribe to New York Times, Washington Post, Bloomberg, and AP, all sources I trust with live reporters who are presumably have taken the class on journalistic ethics and get me the truth and get me unfiltered facts. But now if they replace a bunch of those reporters just because they have to keep in business with AI, do we need another AI to double check the facts of the AI that takes stuff off the internet, or how does that all work?
Well, there is AI that does that, and there would be people that say the reporters that we have out there now, maybe we don't trust them either. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on these days you wonder about. There was some research done where AI had generated, I forget what it was exactly, but it was 95% undetectable that it came from AI. And it's passed the bar exams, it passes the LSAT, it's passing all those exams. And the thing that I think is incumbent upon all of us is to decide for ourselves what is our ethical choice in using AI. What's our organization's? Because we need to make some decisions. And what I tell people is the first book I wrote was Mastering ChatGPT for Women, because I thought sometimes women, we talk ourselves out of things and talk ourselves down and diminish our brilliant minds. And I just want to say, get your butt out there and do this. And then the next book I wrote was for adults over 50, mostly because my oldest brother is in his 80s, and he's like the master on his cell phone. And he wants nothing to do with a computer, but his cell phone's a computer. And so he's just all over the place. He's still, well, he kind of had to stop working, but he's still been working and writing for a journal and all that kind of stuff, and he's 80-something.
So if we hear a campaign ad the next time Dwayne's up for election that he wants to fine every citizen $10,000 and triple your taxes, we shouldn't necessarily believe it right off?
Probably not. Terry, what were you going to say?
I want to follow up on the last question and your comment. If we get a reporter and they make some statements, we can always research that person's background, history, get an understanding of where their biases are or what way they're leaning. How do we do that with AI?
Well, that's a great question, and we don't really know, and that's where there is inherent bias built in, because a lot of information out there that the AI sucked it all up. It doesn't know, it doesn't make value judgments. That's our job. That's why we have the brains, and we have to be in charge. And so it's a great question, because AI is going to only give you what it has. You know what I'm saying? So if it got information, that's what it's going to draw from. And back when Gemini came out, which is a Google product, Google as an organization has a certain, shall we say, thought process, and all the images that it generated were people of color. They asked for the Pope. He came out as a black-skinned person. Yeah. It asked for our favorite Scandinavians. And granted, some of them are a little darker, but they came out. Everything that Gemini was generating was somebody of color.
When was this?
I don't recall. It was when Gemini first came out. But, I'm not a Gemini fan. And as I always say, Gemini is Google. What does Google like to do? Anybody here feel like Google likes to follow you around? Likes to know all about you? Likes to sell your data? Yeah. And so I have that concern about them, and the same with Facebook, which is Meta, which is actually now called Llama. But they can do some really cool things. Just be careful. And Claude, that's one reason I like Claude. Claude is built completely different. It is the most secure as far as your personal information. I still would say don't give it anything very personal. And ChatGPT, the big gun, they have done a lot of work to really make their work more secure. And there's things you can do, there's things you can set when you're on ChatGPT so that your information doesn't get put into their training. It's called training. So lots of stuff. I don't know,
Do we have
are we at a
another-
wrap?
Does anybody have one last maybe question at all that they wanted to ask? If not, I've got one for you.
Okay, so the book winners are Karen Arazi, not Karen, sorry sis, Laura and Eldon, and I will autograph them.
And then my question for you is, could you talk a little bit about how you, that it's possible to have one of these chat GPTs or one of the language models to, you can create your own.
Oh, you mean like a custom GPT then? Yeah. Okay, so one of the things that you can do is you can make your own GPT. That's on Chat GPT. So you go, and if you're on Chat GPT, you either find Explore GPTs or custom. And if you're, because I probably can't show you this, up in the upper right, there'll be a little circle with your initials, and you can also click that. And the thing that Dwayne is asking about is, for example, if I said, hey, I want to write a bunch of things for LinkedIn, but I want it to sound like me. Well, I could input tons of other articles that I have written so that I'm training it to write in my style. So you can do that. Another thing that's really cool people have done is they've done things like their operation plan or something, or their FAQs, put that in. One of the guys up in Moorhead in the Small Business Development Center, he put their ops thing in there because a lot of the consultants kept saying, well, how do we do this? How do we that? So he put it all in, made a custom GPT, and then people could just go and ask the question and get the answer. And so that's a really cool thing that you can do. It's a great question. And you can make those public or keep it private. Like you could share it with your team or just make it your own, or you can, some people come up with something like this and they sell it.
Well, thank you very much. I know we could go quite a ways on that topic, and certainly I would love to have you back and ask you more detailed questions about that. I'm doing a lot of investment in that area, so a very interesting thing. With that, though, we'll call our meeting to a close, and we will see you next month.